Could your daily routine be full of hormone disruptors? There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living rent-free in our environment right now. In our food, our water, the air we breathe, the clothes we wear, our skincare, they all mess with our hormones. The good news is we don't have to suffer through it anymore because now we have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms of women of all ages. Since I've been using Hormone Harmony, I have felt more balanced, and other women feel the same way. The biggest benefit, they say, is feeling like myself again. That's what women mention over and over in their reviews, and there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Dateable at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Dateable for 15% off today.
March is Sleep Awareness Month, the perfect time to think about the quality of your sleep and how the mattress you choose can make all the difference. Avocado Green Mattress is committed to providing mattresses that not only help you sleep better, but also are healthier for you and the planet. Avocado mattresses promote better sleep through breathable, naturally temperature-regulating materials, which can improve overall well-being. No harmful chemicals, just healthy materials for a cleaner, safer sleep. And best yet, Avocado's committed to sustainability. Their mattresses are made from organic, eco-friendly materials that are good for both you and the planet. Plus, their mattresses are built to last, keeping more mattresses out of the landfill. Isn't it time to upgrade your mattress for you and the planet? Head to avocadomattress.com today and save up to 10% on certified organic mattresses. Dream of better. Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Krafchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brunch Talk, where we answer your burning dating questions.
It never gets old. There's always something new to discuss. And I just had such a good weekend. Actually, it's not brunch, but it was dinner. So I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to shout out one of our listeners who I had the pleasure of meeting. But I was at this wine and small plates place with my partner, and then a friend of mine I used to work with and her husband, and we're enjoying our dinner and we're at a communal table, and the guy next to me, he was like, "Hey, my girlfriend is fangirling a little. Are you the host of this dating podcast?" And she was kind of sitting there just like,
oh my
waiting.
God.
And I'm like, "Yes." And she was like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to meet you." All this stuff. I listened to your podcast for so long. That's how I met my partner. They met on Hinge. And yeah, it was just, so nice. So anyways, I wanted to give her a shout out. Her name was Cindy. And yeah, it made my night. So I immediately texted you after that happened.
I'm so happy. Cindy, okay, can we just acknowledge the fact that people do listen to Dateable, even if they're in a relationship, or they'll tell their partners about Dateable. We're not just about being single or just about dating or just about getting into relationships. We're all encompassing of human relationships and connection.
Yes, but it certainly helped her get into a relationship and she attributed it to it.
Thank you, Cindy, for listening. And thank you for telling your boyfriend about us.
And they both seem so sweet. So it seemed like a great match. And yeah, just, so nice. And I think it's funny because my friends that we were with are like, "Oh, does this happen a lot?" Because they clearly hadn't seen this. And my partner's like, "It happens from time to time. It's not like all the time." I don't think there's ever been a time where I've literally been sitting next to someone. When he tapped me, I thought he was going to be like, "You've been sitting too close to me," or something like, "Can you move out of the way?" Because I just didn't know what to expect, right? Communal table.
Have you ever gone up to someone that you recognize from somewhere before, like a show or a podcast?
I have not. Have you?
I don't think I have. Well, okay. All right. I don't know if this is going up to them, but I sat next to Cindy Crawford at the Magic Castle.
Oh, right.
And I had to say something to her. I didn't go up to her. I was like, "I'm such a big fan. How did I get so lucky?" I think that was it.
I think she's a different level though, right? 'Cause everyone, she assumes that. I don't think we're out here comparing
Yeah,
ourselves to
you're right,
Cindy
you're right.
Crawford. Everyone knows who that is. I'm thinking more like maybe fellow podcasters or other people that you see on TikTok or something. I feel like if
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw someone, relatively normal people, Cindy
Yes.
Crawford is definitely in a different league.
I saw Janet from Asian Boss Girl at a
Oh,
house
yeah.
party, and I went up to her to say hi because she's been on our podcast, and we have a lot of friends in common, so that was kind of fun.
And Yue will be on her podcast, which is very exciting. I sadly cannot make the trip to LA, but Yue will represent, and it'll be fun to reconnect with her.
But I guess like if you and I saw like Damona Hoffman.
That's different though, because we're
we've
like
had her,
friends
yeah.
through the internet. Like we haven't met in
Yeah.
real life, but it feels like we have. I mean like someone that like legit would have no idea who you were.
True.
Because even Janet's a little different because she was on our podcast.
We interacted with her.
It's very different.
Yes. If I saw Stephen Bartlett from Diary of a CEO walking around, I think I would go up and say something to him.
I just thought of one. Tim Ferriss.
Yes! We did!
But, okay, so I actually, now that I'm like really losing my mind over here, I had this convo with my partner after it happened. I'm like, I don't know if I would have said something. And he's like, didn't you go up to Tim Ferriss? And I was like, only because Yue did it. Like, I wouldn't have done it solo. I think I needed that like moral support to do it.
Yes, and your partner was there to witness the whole thing. It was at South by Southwest. Yes, I was like, let's go up to him because he was sitting by himself. So, why not? We went up to him, but we went up to him twice because the second time we asked for a photo.
Yeah, we like started to turn around and then we did it. You know what she did that was actually like, they were pretty classy about it. Like they had already got the bill when they finally said something.
So they're on their way out.
It wasn't like lingering around for a long time too. Like it was enough that we could have convo, but then there was like a natural out because that could be awkward. Then you're like, and now back to our meals, right? But I think they had been like questioning for a while, like, is that her? Is that not her?
Yes, that's true. And that is a very classy way to do it. I mean, we left immediately after we got a picture of Tim Ferriss. So we didn't linger. But we could have.
No, he also told us, he's like, don't post it immediately, which I think it was good. He clearly had some issues with that in the past. He was super nice, like super nice. Receptive to us. And then remember there was that guy from SNL that we also met at that party that would not take a photo with us.
No. Like I can't even remember what his name is.
He was like on like one season of SNL. My partner and I talk about this a lot actually because he kind of left a weird taste because he was so like so backstory is we were at this party that we probably shouldn't have been at in the first place. We were like, yeah, we're founders. We walked in.
We are founders.
Like, I know we are, but okay. It was a loose connection. We walk in and we're like having our food, free food. This girl comes over and she's just like, are you guys film investors? And we're like, no. Anyway, she continues to talk to us, even though she knew we were not going to fund her film. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm here with my husband. And it was this guy that was like on like one season of SNL. And he's been in a couple shows. He was in Hacks, like a very 10th character, not like someone that's like up. Like he like worked in the office or something. Anyways, the people from the event come around to take our photos. And the original woman, she's like posing with us, but he like would not be in this picture. Remember, he like walked away. He was like, I can't be in a photo with them. And my partner and I always talk about it. We're just like, it felt like it was so over the top that he like could not be seen with us, that it just left a bad taste in our mouth. Instead of if he had just like popped in the photo that honestly was only being used at like this investment firms, like their stuff anyways. It wasn't like it was getting circulated around. Like we would have been like, oh, we met this really cool guy from SNL. And now we're like, yeah, we met this kind of douche guy from SNL.
Yeah, because also he just like, he wasn't big enough to act like an asshole. I mean, I get it. If you're like, I don't know, I saw
Cindy
Dave
Crawford.
Chappelle. I saw Cindy Crawford. Like I there's no way she would let me take a selfie with her. But like Dave Chappelle, I saw him out and I took a picture of him and he came over and said something. He wasn't like, don't take a picture of me, but he was like, I saw you take a picture of me and it made me feel a little funny. But this guy was like he acted like he was an A-list celebrity. who could not be seen with pedestrians.
Yeah.
He like kind of was like, oh, I'm too big for this table or whatever, even though his wife was at the same table. That was kind of strange because I cannot name him at all. There's like, I can't even think of a name that sounds close to what I think it is.
I have his first name, but I'll spare
Oh,
it.
you have his first. Okay. You have a better memory with that.
Okay. I don't know if this is like too vulnerable, but maybe it's, I don't know, vulnerable or insecure. I'm not quite sure. Do you ever get this fear, or is it just me that like when people meet you that they're like disappointed? Because I feel like sometimes I'm not as on as I am maybe like on the podcast.
Yes, I can see where that comes from. Yeah. Well, also like the times that I've been approached, I was just doing the most mundane, boring things.
Yes, like caught off guard.
Yeah, like I'm not dressed well or presentable. I'm literally shopping at Lululemon. That's not that exciting. So I feel like I need to present a more exciting side of myself when I get approached. But at the same time, isn't this what people want? They want to see that we're just normal people.
That's true. Maybe it's like the times when I have ran into people, it's been at very weird, like, I don't know, like sometimes it's been at events. There was that one event in SF, the Crab Feed, that we ran into a few people every year. That was probably maybe looking our best because we actually put together for an event. There was one time I was like literally like eating a croissant and like some girl like came up to me. So that one maybe not so much. There was a time at South by Southwest when I was just very caught off guard and I think I just looked like a deer in headlights. And then there was a time in Whole Foods where I thought I was giving the carriage over to someone, just like a random, and she's like, I know you.
Yes, my friend Karen. I remember
that one at least had a connection to you. But yeah, she knew me from the podcast.
Yeah, I think my mistake is I sometimes linger and try to have a conversation. And then I realize I'm really boring when I try to linger like that. So I just need to leave.
Maybe that's what it is.
I just need to be like, yeah, so nice meeting you. I gotta go. Because then I get into these like, oh, tell me more about you and what's going on in your love life. And then I'm like, oh shit, this is not going well. Like I just need to shut up and leave.
I appreciate the girl that when I was at what we call Beta, it's like Beta Breakers is this big event in San Francisco where it's a running race, but people are in costume. And I was sitting at a cafe and she just was like in passing, like, love the podcast. I was like, that was a good interaction.
Yes. Like I think these interactions, they will benefit both parties to just be brief. I think that's a lesson we've learned. So if you do see us out in public, it's not that we're not friendly. It's just that we get awkward if we linger.
It's awkward,
so,
yeah.
So let's just make it brief. Nice to meet you.
I guess it's a note to self for us if we ever meet other people.
Yes.
Like I think the Tim Ferriss interaction was good because it was like no more than, I don't know, like 2 minutes. It was pretty quick.
I mean, it could have been very easily awkward because we were like telling him we were writing a book and he's like, great.
He's like, I don't care.
Awesome.
He's like, how many people tell me this and pitch me this?
Yeah.
We're like, we have a podcast and we're writing a book. He's like,
great, awesome. So does everybody else here at South by Southwest. And also on his website, he legitimately has this, he writes out, do not send me books for me to read. Yeah. I don't want to read your galleys.
I think he said it in the event before we got there too.
Like, don't send me anything. Don't send me your advanced copies of your books.
So, okay, I obviously know who he is. I've been following him for a long time, but I feel like if we hadn't just seen him 10 minutes before, I would not have even realized that was him.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people, maybe at South by, they recognize him more, but if it was just like out and about, I don't think many people will recognize him.
That's why whenever someone does come up to us, like we're joking that maybe we get awkward, but we do love it because it does mean a lot, right? It means that you've been a loyal listener and you know what we look like. And sometimes even when we're not dressed up nicely, you still could recognize us. So we do really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the part I always think about too. I think the first time I got approached was at a Ranch 99 during the pandemic. I had a mask on. I was like, this girl of all the Asians in this Asian supermarket wearing masks, she was able to find me because she recognized my partner at the time. It's like amazing to me. That was like, thank you.
It's pretty amazing.
The sea of Asians.
It really is. Yeah.
But yes, thank you. Thank you for that. But we have some dating issues that we need to get to.
We do. Before we get into it, though, I did want to give a shout out to the site FeedSpot that featured us on their top 100 best dating podcast list and top
Yes.
100 best relationship podcasts. So for relationships, we were there number 10, which is exciting. And then for dating, we were number 7. So thank you, FeedSpot, for featuring us. We so appreciate it.
So good. And what do we need to do to get to number 1?
There are some good ones. You Up is number 1 on dating, and Girls Gotta Eat on relationships. I love both of those podcasts. So Why Won't You Date Me is on there. There's some good ones. Sex with Emily, Savage Love Cast. There's some good ones on there. So we're in good company at least. But let's get to number 1.
Heavy hitters. Yeah. How do we get to, who do we need to talk to get to number 1? Just curious.
Love it. Also, well, we do want to talk about some maybe dating stuff that we've been hearing through the pipeline and just get our takes. But before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
Let's be honest. Sometimes, no matter how much you want to be in the mood, your mind and body just aren't on the same page. This episode is sponsored by Via, the brand behind the most loved THC libido gummy on the market, designed to enhance intimacy, heighten pleasure, and help you fully embrace the moment. Originally created as a limited edition Valentine's release, High Love was such a massive hit that Via made it a permanent part of their lineup. For the last 2 years, it's been helping adults enhance intimacy, heighten pleasure, and feel more connected than ever. These gummies are a hit for me as well, as I am so impressed by the powerful blend of cannabinoids and time-tested aphrodisiac herbs. The formula increases my blood flow, awakens my senses, and helps me fully embrace the moment. Now, if you're 21 and over, head to viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE to receive 15% off, free shipping on orders over $100, and if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice. That's VIIA hemp.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. After you purchase, they ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with High Love from Via.
Who doesn't love the good things in life? And even though I enjoy a little luxury, it doesn't mean I can always afford it until I discovered Quince. Quince is my go-to for all luxury items. I'm constantly wearing their Mongolian cashmere sweaters. I now have it in green and in tan, and I am obsessed. And if Mongolian sweaters aren't your thing, they have a huge range of high quality items at prices within reach. Washable silk tops and dresses, organic cotton sweaters, and even 14 karat gold jewelry. And the best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands because they partner directly with top factories and cut the cost of the middleman and pass the savings on to us. So give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable.
Armoire makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Armoire, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out for more new-to-you styles. Now, I went on a girls' trip to Santa Fe recently, and I rented all of my outfits from Armoire. It was so much fun putting together a mix of casual and formal looks, and my favorite was this pair of white, wide-legged jeans from Paige that went well with everything. Now, I wouldn't normally own anything white because I can be kind of clumsy, but with Armoire, I just ship it back and they'll take care of keeping the pants in pristine condition. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That is armoire.style, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
So Yue, I wanted to talk to you about the word dating intentionally, or intentional dating because it's all the buzz right now, right?
Mm.
And I saw like in our Facebook group, one of our community members started, her whole conundrum. And I'm not going to go into like what the conundrum was because it's kind of tangential to this discussion. But there was a line that kind of caught me and I was like, oh, I kind of want to dive into this more. And it was, I'm trying to date intentionally. Therefore, I am not on the apps. And then she proceeded to talk about how she was getting introduced to people that were like in her network, like through her dad's business, like someone that worked with her father. So there was more like, I guess, matchmaking or intros happening. And that was kind of how she viewed, I don't know, dating intentionally. So I'm curious, like your take, would you go there? Do you view it differently? I have some thoughts as well.
Well, I guess it shows you how people use dating apps. Like they're just flipping through the channels. It's
Yeah.
probably where I'm guessing she's thinking like, I can't date intentionally on the apps because it's just like background noise for me. But I also see a world where intentional dating does involve the apps where your behavior on the apps do change. So I guess it's just all dependent on what you think intentional dating is.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where, like, I mean, the root of it, we actually explain this in our book too. Like, intentionality, it means on purpose, like with a purpose. So I kind of look at it that way. And I didn't necessarily think about, I don't know, like dating apps, IRL, like all the places you can meet people. I kind of view that as like the means to the end, not the like end. So it was kind of like the way I view it. It's like kind of agnostic to how you meet. It's more of like the vibe and mentality you're putting out there when meeting people.
Yeah, that I can see too. I think the only times I've dated intentionally were not so much like I didn't think purposefully around how I'm going to use the apps. It was more like I'm going to lead with my interests, and that intentionality falls into place after that.
I mean, I totally understand what you're saying about like, oh, if you're just like swiping on the toilet, that's not intentional dating. And I definitely see that. I think like when I think of dating intentionally, it's like having like the clarity of what am I actually looking for. And that's why, in our book, we have a whole chapter of gaining clarity. And I think taking that step is so fundamental to dating intentionally because like, how can you figure out where you're trying to go if you don't even know what the destination is that you're trying to get to?
Yeah. And I think why people are so burnt out from the apps is because of this lack of clarity and intentionality. And again, in our book, we talk about like, what's your dating consumption strategy? How do you use the apps in a way that has purpose? And if it doesn't have purpose, if you're just swiping in the background, of course you're going to be overwhelmed and fatigued from it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think like with dating intentional, at least for me, I mean, I met my fiance on Hinge, so clearly I'm pro app in that regard, but I think I was using apps differently than maybe I was when I first was out there and I didn't really know what I was looking for. And I was just saying yes to every date and going on multiple dates a night even. So I think when I was more dating intentionally, I was using the same vehicle. It was just my approach was so different that I was, spending more time, maybe like quality over quantity. Like I was going on less dates, but they all seemed like viable people. Like maybe I didn't know from the app if they were like my forever person, but they seemed like someone that could at least be in the realm of it. Where in the past it was more of like spray and pray and just hope like someone would go somewhere.
I always giggle at that phrase, spray and pray. Sounds like sexual harassment to me. Just like spread your seeds and see what happens. No. But yeah, I think most people lack the intentionality in dating. This is why we're headed into this love crisis because if we're not clear about what we're looking for or what we're even trying to get out of dating, then where are we going with this? I love this example and it's like not related to dating, but I think it's a good way to look at intentionality. So it's the story of have you heard the story of the Mexican fisherman? I just heard this story.
No, I was
Maybe it's
thinking of something
familiar?
else you put on Instagram, but I don't think it is if you just heard it. So
Okay.
enlighten me.
Yeah, okay, because you'll see like how it's related to dating. This Mexican fisherman, he catches fish in the morning just to have enough to feed his family. And this is this businessman comes by one morning. He's like, "Oh, it's so early in the morning. Why are you going home already? You're done." And the fisherman's like, "Oh, I've already caught enough fish for my family. Now I'm going to go take a nap. I'm going to spend some time playing the guitar. I'm going to hang out with my kids and then have dinner with my wife." And the businessman is like, "Well, if you just spend one more hour fishing, you can actually scale your business and make more money and hire more people to fish for you so you can catch more fish." And the fisherman said, "Why would I need more money? What am I going to do with that money?" And the businessman says, "So you can have more time to take naps, play with your kids, and have dinner with your wife." So he came back full circle. And I think the purpose of that story is we always think we want more and we are thinking about the outcome of what that
Yeah.
more is, like more dates and more connections and relationships. But if we're not intentional about what we're using with that outcome, then we're just not gaining anything. In fact, we're probably losing a lot of time in doing that. That story so resonated with me because in thinking about like what I want out of a relationship, I need to know what it is that I am trying to build here. If I don't have the blueprint, I don't know what
Right.
I'm trying to build, then I'm just doing things for the sake of doing things.
Yeah, I think this doing things for the sake of doing things is the definition of being not intentional, right? That you're
Yeah.
just like not thinking, you're just going on date after date. And I think you can really like fill your busy time easily. We also hear, and I will actually point to even myself back in the day when I think I was not an intentional dater, I was like, I want a relationship, but none of my actions went to that. Like I was
Yeah.
still entertaining like friends with benefits or situationships that I knew like were not it, but I was still doing it because it felt like I had something going on, but it wasn't
Yeah.
intentional to like what I actually wanted at all. And I think it wasn't until I was like, actually, this is where I want to go and this person isn't getting me there, then it's time to lose that person instead of like continue to just be unintentional with them.
Thank you. I'm glad that you brought up getting rid of people who are not aligned with what your intentions are, because many of us in dating just want to be with someone instead of no one. So then we have so much noise that are robbing us of our intentionality. And when the right person does come along, we don't have room or space for them. And then we lose sight of why we're dating in the first place. So when you have alignment, like what Julie was saying, it's so much more clear who's not aligned with you. And you no longer need them in your orbit.
Right. I think that's where the clarity comes in. Yeah. So maybe it's like this person's not wrong for saying like dating apps aren't where I am being my most intentional self. But I think
Hmm.
there's maybe a limiting belief here that like I can't be on any dating apps if I want to date intentionally. It's like, how do
Yeah.
I use the tool in a way that I still maintain my intentionality? There is a middle ground that I think is being eliminated.
So maybe the better way to reframe this is if you're trying to date intentionally, where can you be more intentional in every aspect of your life? And it's on the
Right.
apps, it's in person, it's through your family and friends, increasing that intentionality energy.
I think being intentional too is being like upfront about what it is you want and not being
Mm.
afraid to say the things that might scare away the wrong people. So I guess the other thing too is like if we're only equating being intentional to these tools and these methods or whatever, I would also want to make sure like I'm actually upholding intentionality in other parts of life. Like we've seen this happen where people are like, well, apps are terrible, they're the worst. And then they meet someone in real life and then all intentionality goes out the window because like the
Hmm.
meet cute is there. And that's not necessarily serving you either. It's like we should have a standard that we hold ourselves to regardless of where we meet the person or hold others to as well.
So here's a question I had a discussion with my friend about. I want to get your opinion. She's dating intentionally, or thinks she is, and she really wants to find a partner, sustainable relationship, all that. But she is in a situationship with someone where he's very intentional about not wanting the same things. And she's very clear about the fact that he is not what she's looking for. And she thinks that's also dating intentionally, is intentionally letting the people know that they're not for her long term.
I guess technically it is because your intentions are known,
Uh-huh.
right? And I'm thinking back to the episode we did with Talia, who's actually the host of the podcast, Dating Intentionally. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember on there, she was talking about like how it doesn't mean that the outcome needs to be that I get into a relationship. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, in theory, this person is dating intentionally. They are dating this person they know is never going anywhere. They have the right expectation. Where I would maybe challenge it, though, is like, what is the greater that they want? And it sounds like what that is a relationship that's more long term. And what I would ask is this other path you're taking into that larger vision, or is it counter? Because I
Mm.
firmly believe like energy expended anywhere that's out of what we're looking for, it makes us less intentional overall.
Yes. Yes. I said a little bit of that to her
Okay.
because I do think it's good to be clear. And I think she was very proud of herself for being clear
Yeah.
and not getting hurt because of this guy not aligning with what she's looking for. But intentionality is actually takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of energy. And if all your intentionality energy is spent on telling some guy that he is not aligned with you,
Right.
wouldn't you rather spend that energy on aligning with someone who is wanting the same things as you?
Totally. And it's like, how much time are you giving to this person? I mean, I think if
Yeah.
people can truly have like a friends with benefits hookup or uncommitted relationship and it doesn't take up brain power at all, then by all means do you. But I feel like that's very hard personally. I think it's
I
very hard.
agree. I agree because you're constantly setting boundaries with someone who you don't have a future with.
Right.
And that seems like you're going farther and farther from your goal, right? You're just setting boundaries with someone who's not right. What's the point?
I just think about like all the times where I was like in these casual relationships where it's supposed to be
Yeah.
fun and it's supposed to be easy. And then I was spending all this time analyzing the relationship or being
Yes.
upset by it or talking about it with my friends. And I'm like, how is this casual and easy? It's now actually a relationship that in the sense that it is involving different people in the way that they interact with one another and relate to one another. It is a relationship. Might not be a relationship that's going towards a future, but it's a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, I think all those situationships I've been in have been a complete mind drain just because you're playing all these games all day, all night. And at the time, I thought I was empowered. I thought I was like, oh, I'm the one saying no. I'm the one telling them I'm not available. But that was also me playing games, and that was energy spent. So I rather spend that energy on someone I don't need to play these games with.
100%. Okay, so intentionality. I think intentionality is all the buzz, and it's a good word, but it's like we have to get clear of what intentionality actually means. And are we doing actions that support the intentionality?
Yeah. Well, and if you want to learn more about dating intentionally, you can get our book, How to Be Dateable. We outline several frameworks of getting more clear and intentional about dating. And like what Julie said earlier, it's not just about getting in relationships, but why are you dating in the first place? Why do you date?
At the core of the whole book is being intentional in the way that you treat others, the way you approach dating, the way that you find the right relationship for you. It's all about doing things with purpose and not just throwing spaghetti to the wall and hoping something sticks, because that's just not a useful strategy at all.
Also, so messy.
So messy.
Cleaning up all that spaghetti. My goodness. Okay. Yes, howtobedateable.com. That's how you find our book. Everywhere books are sold.
Yep. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast if you're not already here, because we have so many great episodes. We have our interview one every Tuesday, and then we have brunch talk. And yeah, excited to have you all here for the ride.
See y'all next week.
Bye.